Number 2, business operates by universal principles that govern success. Once you learn the principles, you can use them in any business. Number 3, business principles are found in the Bible and in the marketplace. Number 4, business principles that are implemented cause you to earn wealth. What does Proverbs say wisdom will do to those people who love wisdom and seek after it? Last verse says that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth, that I, wisdom, may fill their treasuries. You must understand, God's behind the wisdom. And it's in the marketplace and in Scripture for you to seek after, find it, and use it. What happens when you really know wisdom in the marketplace? You will be very wealthy. If you're not, it's because you don't know the wisdom. You got to come to grips with this. This is not complicated. If your business isn't working, you're not leading it right. If you're not leading it right, it's because you don't know wisdom. Okay. Next point. Business principles operate independently from personality or culture. Why do some cultures around the world seem to be extremely effective in business? I've been to Singapore, lectured to CEOs in Singapore numerous times. Why are they so successful in Singapore? Their widespread understanding of wisdom and how to apply good, sound biblical principles and wisdom principles in their government. And everybody there learns it all. It's not Chinese. It's that culture has learned the principles and they apply them. You can go to another country, I can name many countries you go to, that nearly everybody's in poverty. And they blame the culture. It's not the culture, it's you haven't sought wisdom and haven't applied it. That's the truth, is it not? If you believe it's your culture, you have built a wall that will keep you from succeeding. And you are denying what the Bible teaches, that if you seek and find wisdom and apply it, you will be successful. It's not culture. It's not race. It's not age. It's not even education. Some of the most successful people never finished college, never went to college. They just got the wisdom and they understood about customers and product and services and markup and all the rest, and they just applied it. They read lots of books, went to a lot of courses, and they became billionaires. So take away all this stuff, and what am I saying to you? You can do it. That's what I'm saying. God's going to hold me accountable at the end. If I wasn't in control of it, how can He hold me accountable for it? If I'm not in control of it, how can He hold me accountable for it? He can only hold me accountable because I can control it. And so can you. What's happening in this room as I talk about this? Is this making sense to you? Yes. Is it changing how you view things? How many would say, no, this is changing how I think about things? Okay, then that's worth the time. Because when a person believes a lie and thinks it's just the culture that this is way, or it's just my nation, or it's just my race, and don't understand it has nothing to do with your culture, nothing to do with your race, it has everything to do with, do you know the wisdom or not? And are you using the wisdom? Because wisdom says, if you love me and seek me and use me, I will cause you to be successful. Either that's Bible or not. It's not culture. It's you. Who else is it? No, it's you. It's me. That's called responsibility. Okay. I've been preaching on business. Okay. Number 6, business principles can be discovered by anyone who diligently seeks, and business success or failure is determined by your use of the principles. I want you to just quickly go through some points here. I'm not going to teach them to you. This is kind of a reference tool for some of you who want to go on after these presentations are over. Part 2 is to identify your business growth trend, and I have this on a flip chart here for you. All businesses in this room are somewhere on this business growth chart, that it launches at the beginning and it dies at the other end. It launches, it gets going very busy, and usually if you get things going well at the beginning, you're going to have some rapid growth. If you don't watch out, your rapid growth will slow down. It'll just come and start slowing down, and you will what's called plateau. You will, year after year, be about the same. 80% of the churches in Africa have plateaued. Why? They don't understand this is normal, but what to do so this doesn't happen. This didn't have to happen. And then after a while, as the plateau continues, it will slowly start to decline. There's a denomination in this town, in this country where I'm at today, that grew like this, and years gone by, they didn't understand what to do. It plateaued, and they're dying quickly right now. They're over here. They will cease to exist unless they break out. But right now, they're very rigid and won't break out. So this whole issue then is, where are you in your business? I want you to look at this. Where are you? You're somewhere on that chart. Just circle your number where you are. If we had a workshop here with a week, we could go into this more. On number 2, identify your business growth trend. This is for when you go home and can look at your numbers and your financials, but your business growth trend is, are you growing or declining? So let's say your revenue this year was, I don't know, 100,000. What's the revenue the year before? 106. Before that, 103. This would be pretty typical. What trend is that? That's the plateau. They're right here. 80% of all churches and businesses are on the plateau. There are reasons why 80% get stuck at the plateau. There's reasons why churches in this part of the world grow to 57 to 60 and stop growing. Why is that the norm? Because you're following the laws of a church of 60 people. So as you look at this, you want to identify, is my trend down? Is it flat? Or is my trend up? So when you go home, look at your financials and look at this and say, okay, where really am I on this? Next point, get a handle on what 1 year's work achieves. And I put 4 boxes on your notebook. The white box with 5%. See that little tiny golden spot? You worked the whole year to achieve that. Or 10%, or 25%, and 100% means you double. I want you to start despising, there's that word, despise means to look down on. I want you to despise 5% growth. I want you to despise 10% growth. I want you to despise 25% growth. That is, no longer tolerate it. Because you don't have to tolerate it. All right? In the next chart, consider the 5 business growth rates. Look on the left-hand side, you'll see me defining stagnation, which means it's -4% to +4%. Incremental growth, 5% to 10%. Solid growth, 11% to 24%. This is in a year. Substantial, 25 to 99%. Exponential means you double or more. That's 100% plus. Then I have 3 exponential levels for you. Major exponential is 100% to 900%. Massive is 1,000% in a year. That's significant. To 9,000. And monumental is to 10,000%. On the right-hand column, to make this a little bit more practical, I said, if you started with the year before at 100,000, you see that on the right-hand column? and you were at the stagnation, at the end of the year, you'd have 96,000 to 104. Go down to level 5, exponential, 100%, that's 200,000, you double. Then 200,000 to 900,000, a million to 9 million, and 10 million. Okay, where are you as you look at this? If you're a church and your church had 100 people in it, then those are the same numbers that would be there in the year. Instead, take off 3 zeros. If it'd be 100 people in your church, you'd end the year with 96 to 104, 105 to 110, etc. What I would like to do now is to just validate a little bit of what I'm saying to you. And I again wish I had more time for this. When my wife, Darlene, and I and our youngest of 3 children, Jessica, moved to Africa, we became very burdened back in 2002, 3, 4, and 5 with the people that had no food. And we bought bread and other things that people typically do, and then we eventually got involved in saying, what's God's answer to hunger? And read in the Bible till we found it. It was in Genesis, where God said, I've made this grain for you to eat. I made these trees that bear fruit for you to eat, and their seeds are in the middle, because everybody thinks if I just had a job, and many times there isn't a job, I could earn money, and if I had money, I could buy food. But in many places in the world, there are no jobs, and people think I am going to be hungry. And God doesn't want anybody to be hungry. And he invented food that has its own seed in it. And that was his answer. I'll make it rain. I'll make the seed germinate. I'll make all kinds of food out of little tiny seeds for you to eat. Just save a little bit and plant them again. So we started planting vegetable gardens. Met with the South African government, all kinds of things. And we called these the never-ending gardens. Little tiny gardens with cabbage and spinach and other things. And we began to test it. And I want to show you what goals had to do with numbers. In year 1, which was 6 months, we planted 350 never-ending gardens. If we grew 5% a year, we'd have 368 in year 2, 386, 405. You following me? If we grew 50%, it'd go from 350 never-ending gardens to 525, 788 to 1,000. If you tell somebody you're growing 50%, people are shocked because they're happy with 5%. If you despise 5% and you realize you can double if you want, then these numbers don't mean what they used to mean to you. And if you grew 100%, it could be 2,800 gardens for people who have no food, lots of orphans and so forth. And when you compare 2,800 to 405, that's significant. Now, I want to show you actual performance, because once you learn the secrets of exponential performance, they work wherever you want to apply them. The next year, we planted 1,000 gardens. After this, we had the South African government come in and do a complete survey of what does it do to a family when they can grow their own food. And we did this outside of Joburg. They came back and said, you need to plant a lot more gardens. This is having a profound impact on people. This wasn't original with us, obviously. I said to my son Dave, who came up with the idea of the never-ending gardens, Dave, what do you feel God wants us to do? Dad, we need to plant more gardens. I said, okay. How many more gardens? A lot. How many? 10,000 gardens. 10,000 gardens. I was praying, is this the number you're comfortable with? Didn't get a sense of peace. Eventually, just because of time reasons, summarizing this story, we set a goal to plant 100,000 gardens. This is 100 times in a year. 100 times. At the end of the year, we planted 100,000 gardens. Then we set a goal to plant 1 million gardens, to grow 10 times in a year. At the end of the year, we planted 1 million gardens. What am I trying to say? Not that we're particularly good at planting gardens, because we're not. But when you live for productivity for the kingdom, and you realize Christ doesn't want people going to bed hungry, you go for it. And you seek for wisdom in the marketplace of how can you do this. In this year here, I was invited by President Mandela to meet with him in his home. Sat down, had tea together, just the two of us. We talked about this. He knew all about the never-ending gardens, and he said, please plant them for my people, my tribe on the Eastern Cape. Presidents of countries were asking for this. God unexpectedly called us back to the United States here. The next year, we had set a goal to plant 10 million gardens. And we already had a plan under work to do this. Please understand. That's it. When you know the principles, you can apply the principles. And they just don't happen once to grow 100 times. This is 1,000 times. We grew 1,000 times. And if you think planting gardens is easy to do, go plant 100 yourself and evaluate. Okay, part 3, double by setting your exponential goal. You are the one who has to understand that exponential goals are set before you know how to do them. Can I restate that? Exponential goals are set before you know how to do them. No one who sets a goal to double in a year knows how to double in a year. Setting the goal opens your mind to brand new ideas that you didn't have ahead of time. So number 1, exponential goals are based upon your business potential. Your business potential. Here's how you do it. I was talking to one pastor. I want to make it simple because a church is easier to deal with than business for this illustration. And he says, I can't grow anymore. I said, okay. How many people go to your church? 150? And you can't grow anymore, right? Right. I said, okay. How many people live a 30-minute drive time around your church? Oh, 2 million. 2 million. And you're decided that you can't grow anymore because you have 150. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, let's make this 100 just to make it simple. Let's make it 200. Take off 1, take off 2, take off 1, take off 2. 1, 2, 3. You have one person out of 20,000 people coming to your church. Do you know how many 20,000 people is? This is a massive number of people. Until you realize your potential. We planted 1 million gardens out of how many? And just in South Africa, there's probably 20 million people that need gardens. At least it was back then. So how do you set an exponential goal? You've got to realize the size of your market. It's a huge, this is called market. What is your market share? And this is a riot. I can't grow anymore. There's only 1,999,800 people. Yeah, but some of them go to church. Yes, they do. Not that big of a percentage go to church on a Sunday. Same with a business. Companies come up and say, I can't get out of my plateau. I ask them, what do you make? You make this. Okay. How many people buy that in your state? 600,000 people. And I did this in a seminar teaching this. And I said, how many windows are being purchased in this state each year? 600,000 of these windows. How many do you sell? I sell 60. So, sir, you sell 60. out of 600,000. You're selling one customer out of 10,000. What are those customers doing? They're buying it from other people. So how are you doing in servicing your customer if 10,000 people don't want to buy from you and one does? You got to change your mind. Exponential goals are based upon potential. And in Africa, where we are, the potential is almost unlimited. Is not this true? Next, point number 2. Exponential goals must be established with careful preparation. Careful preparation. So the chart beneath that, if you took this year's revenue, if it was 100,000, and you wanted to say, okay, for the next 12 months, what is next year's going to be? Point number 5, I have 10 statements about exponential goals, and then I'm going to close with a story. Exponential goals always feel overwhelming and seemingly impossible. Would you identify with that? If you set an exponential goal, you will feel overwhelmed. Number 2, exponential goals typically generate negative pushback. If you tell the people in your company, we're going to double this year, everybody will think that you're crazy. Number 3, exponential goals reveal that the current strategies are insufficient. That is, the current method you're doing won't let you double. Number 4, exponential goals feel impossible due to the fact you have no idea how to achieve them. Number 5, exponential goals stimulate creativity and they require innovation. Exponential goals are achievable due to unlimited opportunities. Number 7, exponential goals require faith and long-term determination. Number 8, exponential goals birth exhilarating breakthroughs. Number 9, exponential goals produce powerful business momentum. And number 10, exponential goal performance can become your new normal, what's normal for you. In the verse beneath that, I want you to see the biggest exponential goal I've ever read anywhere in the world. Jesus gave it. He said, all authority has been given to me in heaven and earth. Listen to his exponential goal. Oh man. Go therefore and make disciples of everyone. Wait. What did you just say? Yeah, I'm talking to 11 people here. And I'm telling them, I want you to go make disciples of every single nation, and I expect you to get it done. You got to understand, God's all about exponential goals. A man came this year when we planted 100,000 as a volunteer to plant gardens. And he came to me on the first day and he said, I want to plant 10,000 gardens this week by myself. Do you know how to do this? I said, yes, I do. You want to plant 10,000 gardens? 10,000 gardens. 10 times the year before. And he said, I'm a businessman. I'm only here for a week, and I thought you would know. Can you tell me what to do? I said, yes, absolutely. I do know how to do this. And I said, you have to hold on, but you can do it. At the end of the week, one man, and how he did it with the people, planted 10,000 gardens. The last year, this year here, Darlene and I went back before the year was over, and our son-in-law, Dean Osich, and our daughter Jennifer, and their 3 boys were running the last trip of volunteers from South Africa and Swaziland and U.S. working together to plant these gardens. And he said to me, how much more to reach the goal? I said, Dean, we got 1 week left. It's 100,000. He said, do you know how to do it? Yeah. Tell me how to do it, we'll do it. So I told him what to do. In the last week, they planted 100,000 gardens. One person planted 10 times what all of us did the year before. This one, 1 week, planted more than the entire year put together. You need to understand, this is principles that are in the marketplace. And what I want you to do is I want you to think of your goal that you have for this year, be it a church, a number goal, attendance in the church, and if you're in business, then it's revenue for this year. I would like you to get the number in your head. If you're in business, what's your revenue for this year? If you're in church work, what's the attendance of your church on the average week? And I want you to deal with what is the number you want to achieve next year.